Hello and welcome to Sports Apex, and today I'll be talking about possibly the greatest final in World Cup history regarding cricket. So I'm going to be talking about England versus New Zealand, the Cricket World Cup 2019 final, and people are calling it not just the greatest final ever, but possibly the greatest one-day international game of all time. So you had in the World Cup. It happened in England and Wales. You had New Zealand defeating India, and then England defeating Australia. So you had England versus New Zealand in the final. I don't think anyone expected New Zealand to get into the final. This was their second final in a row. So but that's what they do in New Zealand. They always, go above and beyond the expectations. So basically, I'll just be reviewing this game and just why was it so good. So, and just to a few notes before this World Cup game was the very first one-day international game to have a super over, and better way to have a super over for the first time than in a World Cup final. So it's just crazy. So there's so many things that happened in this game. So basically, you had New Zealand batting first, and they basically finished with 241 for 8. So I think England did really good bowling. I just feel like maybe New Zealand, especially the top order, could have been better. In the same thing with England. I think both of their top orders didn't do as well. You look at New Zealand, Kane Williamson, Ross Taylor, Martin Guptill, they could have done a bit better, I think. But overall, still you had some other people. You had Jimmy Neesham chipping in a little bit, Tom Latham chipping in a little bit. So overall, they managed to get to 241. So especially with their bowling, I think they probably thought we could still have something here, especially if you take early wickets. In terms of the England bowling, you had good bowling, especially from Wokes and Plunkett. I think they took 3 wickets each. You had Jofra Archer, Mark Wood looking very good. Both of them, I think, gave away about 40-50 runs in 10 overs. They were looking very good. And basically the bowlers kept it tight, I think. So that was, what it was for the first innings. And then we get to the second innings where you had England batting and then chasing 241, and then the top order, again, same thing with New Zealand. They could have done a bit better, the top order. You had Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow, Joe Root, all of them out pretty cheaply. Bairstow was the highest scorer with around 30, I think it was. But when their top order didn't get going, even Owen Morgan, I think, got out fairly cheaply. Then you had the middle order to stand up, and two of their best batters, two of their best players in the team. You had 110 run partnership between Jos Buttler and Ben Stokes. So that was a great partnership for them. You look at the New Zealand bowling. Jimmy Neesham took 3 wickets. Ferguson got Bairstow and Buttler out. He was looking good. Lockie Ferguson, he got 3 wickets. Trent Boult actually got no wickets. If only Trent Boult was in the wickets as well, maybe they could have won the game. But because I think there was less swing in England, especially in this match, and that's why I think Bolt becomes just a bit less lethal if there's no swing. And then, surprisingly, Colin de Grandhomme, he did really well. He got, in 10 overs, an economy of 2.5 and over. He finished with figures of 1 for 25, so that was really good. If they had targeted maybe de Grandhomme a little bit more, maybe England could have won before the super over. But I think New Zealand did really well to restrict England and get a draw out of this match. I think New Zealand, you have to commend them, especially because they're a really good fielding side, so that they save a lot of runs in the field, New Zealand. And because we all know fielding counts so much more than batting and bowling. So in some instances, every run counts, and that's what New Zealand showed. So talking about every run counts, this segues into Trent Boult when it was basically towards the end. I think they needed like 20, 15 or something. They needed like 15 of 9 balls or something like that. And when Buttler was out, it was down to Stokes. And again, Stokes did really well. He finished with 84 not out. And he basically, 15 of 9, I think it was, he was going to hit a 6. Or was it either 15 of 9 or 22 of 9? But he hit a 6 at that time to Jimmy Neesham. And Trent Boult basically caught it. Stokes could have been out, but as soon as Trent Boult caught it, he stepped back onto the ropes, and basically he quickly gave it away to Martin Guptill Boult. As soon as he realized it was on the rope, he got the ball out of his hands, but it was too late. He stepped on the rope, and that was a 6. And then basically Stokes hit another 6 as well. After that, I guess it was in the next over, but then we had Stokes running for a 2, I think it was, and Martin Guptill threw the ball, and Stokes did a dive. The ball hits Stokes's bat, goes away to a 4. So they needed 9 off 3 at that point, and then that they ran 2 plus the overthrow hit the bat to the boundary. 4 plus 2 is 6. So then they needed from 9 of 3. Then they needed 3 of 2, and then you had Stokes basically throw up his hands saying, that wasn't my fault. I didn't do this on purpose. The ball just hit the bat. So at that point, that was so crucial. But whether it's luck or whatever it is, it hit his bat and went into a 4. So it's these are the kinds of things that happen in a game sometimes, and you just can't do anything about it. Sometimes these just it's no one's fault. It just happens. So, and then they needed 3 of 2, and then you had the last basically in the last ball, basically I think they needed 2 of 1, and then it was just Ben Stokes on the strike, and then I think I forget who was on the other end, either Mark Wood or Adil Rashid, but they were running for a 2, and then they basically got run out. So then it was England 241 all out, and then it went to a super over. And then in the super over, you had England batting, England batting first. They make 15, and Stokes and Buttler hitting a 4 each, hitting a boundary. They ran really well, so overall I think they did really well, Buttler and Stokes. Stokes did, after scoring 84 not out, he came in a super over. He was running hard the 2s, even though he was really tired, hitting 4s. So again, it's a great performance by Stokes in this match. He was the player of the match in this. And then they made 15, England, and then you had New Zealand, which the first ball was a wide Jofra Archer ball, and you could see he was really angry with that. And then as I think the next ball of the ball after that, Neesham hit Archer for a 6. So that basically got it off 2 of 1, and then Guptill basically hit it down and ran, and they were going for a 2, and that the throw was to the keeper, and then Buttler did a run out, and that means the super over was tied. Both of them scored 15, and the actual game was tied. Main game, the super over was also a draw. It was a tie, and England win on boundary count. I don't know if that's the rule anymore. I think you have to keep doing super overs until you win. That might be a rule change now, but then it was boundary count. England had 26 boundaries, New Zealand had 17, and basically that means that England won the World Cup on boundary count. And what a crazy final that was. There's so many little moments and big moments as well. The ball hitting the bat, Bolt stepping on the rope, and just so many things where Stokes doing really well in the super over as well. It was there. Just so many great moments. They both tied the super over as well. So it was back and forth. So I remember watching that as well 4 years ago as well, and it was just a thriller minute, really. It was really even Hollywood couldn't script a better match and ending to this. Easily the best final and possibly the greatest one-day international game of all time. So can we get something like that in this year's World Cup? Well, hopefully we do, because if we do, then we're in for a treat. So overall, I thought this was amazing, amazing end to a great World Cup, great match. So England winning their first ever World Cup, defeating New Zealand. So again, this was really good. So ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.